All right, welcome in. We are back. Another edition here on Patriots Press Pass. It is week 11. He is Tayler Kyles from CLNS Media. I am Mike Kadlick from WEEI, and we are back to run through the games of the week across the NFL. Even though the Patriots are on a bye week, we're still going to bring you 6 games to watch across the league. We're going to go 3 AFC, 3 NFC. These are also posted on clnsmedia.com, running through each game. So you can check that out over there as well to get the written version of the betting angle and my picks. We're going to start in the AFC East. Raiders at Dolphins, game 1. The Dolphins are 12.5 point favorites. The total is 46.5. The Dolphins, coming off a bye week, a game that they lost in Germany the week before, taking on the Raiders, who have a new friend, a former Patriot in Jack Jones over there in their defensive backfield. The Raiders coming off 2 straight wins behind Antonio Pierce, with Josh McDaniels getting fired 2 weeks ago. 12.5 point spread according to FanDuel. I assume I know where you're going to go with this one, Taylor. Game's in Miami. Kind of feels like a Dolphins game, but what do you make of the matchup, and what do you think of what's your pick?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough because the Dolphins do have some pretty early season injuries. On the injury report, at least, it says Robert Hunt did not participate. Ali Ingle didn't participate. Robert Jones didn't participate. There's some guys that have, decent roles in their offense who aren't going to be available. That hurts you a little bit. Colton Miller didn't participate for the Raiders with a shoulder injury. But it's Dolphins, probably.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like this is don't overthink game, but you have to respect that the Raiders are playing really hard for Antonio Pierce. Didn't look great at times last week. I'm not going to pretend that, this is like the Vikings where they just flipped a switch or anything like that. But they've been fighting and they've been competitive and they've been rewarded for it. But I think this is going to be the week where reality kind of sets in and it's like, yeah, but you're kind of running into a bit of a buzzsaw in the Dolphins. So I'm going to go with Miami by I'll go 2 scores. All right. I don't want to be disrespectful to the Raiders again, but it's the Dolphins. I don't want to get too crazy.
So I agree that the Dolphins are going to win. I think it won't be all that close. But I do think the Raiders still cover 12.5 points. I like what they have with Antonio Pierce. I think they fight hard in every game. Aiden O'Connell, although not great, kind of just seems like a fighter, kind of got a little bit of a baller to him. He played really well in the preseason. They're going to fight, and they're going to fight for Antonio Pierce. So I think that even if it comes down to being a 14-point game with 2 minutes to go, they could easily go down there and score a touchdown or 3 and at least cover the spread. So I like the Raiders plus 12.5. The total of 46.5 feels a little high to me. I think I might go under because I don't know how much the Raiders are going to get going, but I think I'm going to go under 46.5 for the total. So those are the picks for that one. Staying in the AFC East, this time to the AFC North, excuse me. I'm losing my mind. I just said AFC East. Staying in the AFC, going to the AFC North, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns, who are all of a sudden quarterbackless. Deshaun Watson, after actually playing decent football last weekend against the Ravens, bringing them to a comeback win. I know, stank face, but he did play well. He objectively played pretty good. Well, now he's out for the season. Not only did he bang up his ankle, I believe, but his shoulder is also going to be surgically repaired, and he is done for the year. So they're going to turn to PJ Walker or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I don't know if that decision's been made, but the Browns, playing good football this season, are now quarterbackless and have to turn to a very inexperienced signal caller one way or the other. The Steelers might be the worst 6-3 football team I've ever seen. They find ways, and that's honestly, it's disrespectful.
It's a Mike Tomlin stat.
Yeah,
it's a Mike Tomlin
stat. Exactly. Like they're just not that good in my opinion. They just find ways to win. I was high on Kenny Pickett early in the year. He hasn't been super, but again, they're finding ways to win. And you're right. That's thanks to Mike Tomlin, a guy who constantly finds ways to win football games. So the spread on this one, according to FanDuel, is Browns minus 1.5. I'm kind of surprised they're favored, not only without a quarterback, but also the fact the Steelers are 6-3. But
that's a Browns defensive stat.
Exactly, 100%. The total in this game, Taylor, 32.5. Very, very low. They do not expect a lot of points in this one. So I ask you, what do you make of the matchup? What do you make of the betting lines? And what do you get for picks on this one?
I was gonna say, I think that might be high for this game. I don't think a lot of
Ooh,
points are gonna be
all
scored
right,
because, I mean, the Steelers' defensive line is just like the heart of that. It always is, but they're still fantastic.
right.
And the Browns' defense is loaded all around. I don't really see the Steelers having a lot of success running or passing against that unit, and I don't see Dorian Skylar Thompson necessarily lighting up the Steelers' defense. And it's not like the run game. They got a great offensive line, but you lose Nick Chubb, that's a pretty huge loss. So. I think that the Steelers are going to pull this one out just because, again, Mike Tomlin stats. But
Yeah,
I think this is going to be like a 13-10, like ugly AFC North kind of game.
yeah, I
So
think
I'm
so too.
under on the point spread.
Under 32.5 from Tayler Kyles. I think I'm going to agree. And I'm going to take the Steelers plus 1.5. I like where they are going. Feels like a weird line. As much as PJ Walker and DTR can be fun, ultimately, I think the Steelers win this one. So we're going to continue on. But before we do, we are going to hear from our friends over at FanDuel, who supplies all the odds for our lovely segment here.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you get your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Head over to FanDuel.com/Boston to get in on all the betting action. Again, FanDuel.com/Boston. They'll give you a ton of bonus bets. We're going back to the AFC East here, Taylor. Jets at Bills. According to FanDuel, Bills are -7. The total is 40. The Jets, we come on here every week, Taylor, and we believe in them. Sometimes they do us good and sometimes they do us bad. But I think we're pretty consistent in the fact that we think they're a pretty good football team outside of quarterback Zach Wilson. And the Buffalo Bills are 5-5 through 10 games. Something, if you told me that before the season started, I definitely wouldn't have believed you. Josh Allen doesn't look anywhere close to the Josh Allen we've seen in the last couple of years, leading the league in interceptions with 11, only one more than Mac Jones. They fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, and are going to go and move forward with Joe Brady this week. So we'll see if that gives them any kickstart up there in Buffalo. Bills are at home. And again, they're 7-point favorites according to FanDuel. So not that it has much of an impact on the Patriots because the Patriots are kind of, falling out at the bottom of the AFC East. It's still an AFC East matchup. What do you make of this one, Taylor?
Yeah, it's kind of nice that the Patriots aren't the only team in the AFC East that's playing well below expectation.
Yeah.
And then the Bills scapegoated their offensive coordinator, even though, he's up in the booth while Josh Allen's throwing interceptions and making bad decisions.
Yep.
But whatever. But yeah, I feel
It was
like
like
this
Sean
is
McDermott's out of there after the season. Just saying.
I feel like he's got to be at this point.
Yeah.
They keep firing people and getting guys out of the building, and it's Sean McDermott's the only one who's staying, and they've been inconsistent, and he is the common factor.
Right.
But yeah, I it's tough because I think this is going to be a version of the Bills that really has that fire lit. Where Ken Dorsey's gone, it's okay. They're serious about this. They won expectations. I'm sure that the offensive players are probably going to rally around the fact that their performance. I'm sure they'll understand that they were probably more at fault and that their coach kind of took the fall for poor execution on their part. But at the same time, the Jets are a good football team. I don't think, and this Jets defense also against Josh Allen. Something about that defense. He loses his marbles anytime he goes up against the Jets. We saw it earlier this season. We saw it last season. He just loves giving the Jets a chance to score and take the ball away. So this is going to be a tough one, but I'm going to go on recent history where Josh Allen did play well last week. Overall, he had his great plays and everything, but he also made some big mistakes. Hasn't played well against the Jets in the recent future. The recent past. I'm losing my mind too. We're all nuts down here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets in a close one.
Taking the Jets again. I am taking what you said at first, and I think that the firing of Ken Dorsey and the promotion of Joe Brady, even if it's not actually necessarily the right decision or necessarily the problem, I still think when things like that change, it automatically jolts and puts a little bit of a fire under teams when they kind of have to make a move. You've seen it with the Raiders, and so At least for 1 week, I feel like the Bills offense is going to click. So I'm going to take the Bills -7, and I'm going to take the over in this one, over 40. I know the Jets defense is really good, but I think they're kind of running into a Bills offense here that is going to look and to try and prove themselves this weekend. Plus, they're at home. So I'm going with the Bills -7, and I'm going over 40. Let's start and move off the AFC and head to the NFC. The Dallas Cowboys are visiting the Carolina Panthers this weekend. The Cowboys, according to FanDuel, are -10.5. The total is 41.5. Taylor, last week we talked about the Dallas versus Giants game. I think you said that it would be relatively close, or at least it would be an NFL football game, an NFL football score. It was a 17.5-point spread, and the Dallas Cowboys blew them out of the water.
That's crazy, man. Like, that crazy. Like, obviously it was there for a reason, but, that's embarrassing.
Well, that wasn't necessarily to sit here and call you out on that. That was more so for the fact that the Dallas Cowboys are really damn good. And the fact that they're now 10.5-point favorites on the road against the Panthers, who also aren't that good. But I'm going to give my pick first because I think the Cowboys are rolling right now, and I'm going to take the Cowboys -10.5. I don't think you can bet against them right now. I think they're rolling. I think Carolina's in a tough place, a tough spot. They changed their play caller from Frank Reich to Thomas Brown for like 2 weeks, and now they're giving it back to Frank Reich. So they don't really know what to do.
That's a sign that things are going well.
Yeah, seriously. And so I just think Dallas goes down there and dominates. But what do you make of the matchup?
Yeah, I'm not making the same mistake 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I think that, when you expect like a good team against a decent team, sometimes that decent team, that's why I said when you get a spread like that, they are NFL teams. You don't expect anybody to lose by that margin going into a game. That said, it showed you that, like you said, the Cowboys are a very good team, but also the Giants are a bad team. And the Panthers are also a bad team. I think I was looking at like rushing stats, trying to find some stuff for the Pats, and it was something crazy. Like in the last month, they've had like 1 or 2% of their yards before contact rushing. Crazy. Wow. Like no other team had less than 10. It was like I had to keep looking. I'm like, wait, what? Is that even possible? Their offensive line is a disaster.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
The strength of the Cowboys defense, they got obviously a great secondary as well, but it's that defensive line. They got bodies. They got a lot of great talent. So, yeah, they're talking about, wanting to see more from this offense and everything. But if you have a bad offensive line, you're not doing much of anything, as Patriots fans know. Right. And, just a bad matchup. And I just hope Bryce Young's okay after the game. But, yeah, the Cowboys.
I feel like the rumor mill that's going on around the Patriots right now with the coaching staff and the quarterback and all that sort of brought up the idea that Bill O'Brien could head down to Carolina and team up with Bryce Young. I don't hate that idea. He got a lot out of Bryce at Alabama. Not to be the head coach down there or anything, but perhaps he goes down as the OC under Frank Reich. We'll see what happens. But I thought that was
such a mess. It's such a mess down there, man. Like
the
Patriots are bad, but I feel like they have more hope. Like they're more competitive. The Panthers are just like get dog walked every week.
Yeah, that's fair. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe Billy O'Brien heads down there when they ultimately reshuffle the coaching staff here. But for now, we're going to keep going on with the NFC. Before we do that, we are going to hear from our friends at Factor Meals. So go ahead and take it away, Mr. Gary Tanguay.
Fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Too busy this fall to cook? But want to make sure you're eating well? With Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy, then get back to crushing your goals. Looking for calorie-conscious options during the busy season? Try the delicious dietitian-approved Calorie Smart meals with around less than 550 calories per serving. This September, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/PressPass50 and use code PressPass50 to get 50% off. That's code PressPass50 at factormeals.com/presspass50 to get 50% off.
All right, head over to Factor to get your meals. They'll give you a nice little discount over there. I know Taylor uses Factor, and he thinks they're delicious. So go over to Factor. They are very yummy. So let's round it out with the rest of the NFC. We're going to go with the Bears at the Lions. The Lions are 7.5-point favorites. The total is 47.5. Lions at home. And the Bears are getting Justin Fields back this week. So Tyson Bagent has been in the lineup for the last few weeks as Fields returns from injury. Sounds like Fields is going to be back this weekend. When I was originally prepping for the segment, when I wrote down the lines a few days ago, it was a 10-point spread. Or no, I'm sorry. I think it was an 8. It was a 10-point spread. Justin Fields comes in the lineup. All right, I just remembered. I knew it was 10. It was double digits. 10-point spread. Justin Fields come back, and he's worth 2.5 points on the spread. So Lions now 7.5 points. What do you make of this matchup? Does Fields actually make that much of a difference? And is he actually worth 2 points on the spread? And ultimately, Taylor, what do you think? How do you think this game goes?
You can never count out Justin Fields because it can always be one of those games where he decides to run for like 200 yards, But at the same time, this is a really, really good Lions team, and I don't think the Bears, they got Montez Sweat, and he's been an impact player for them since he got there. But the Lions are still the Lions. I have a lot of faith in them. I think that they're going to win this game. I'll give them a touchdown. I think the most it'll probably be is not the most because I think they could run away with it if just Fields doesn't play well. But I think they'll win regardless. I think it'll be comfortable. Yeah, I'll give them that. I'll give them 7.5.
Right.
But I do still concede that I think Fields could always make it close because he's just got that crazy athleticism that can change a game instantly.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think the Lions win it. I think they win it pretty easily. Fields can be really good, but he's also playing in his first game in a little under a month, I believe. So I like the Lions minus 7.5. I think I like where that team's at. I think they're one of the better teams in football. They had a little hiccup against Baltimore a few weeks ago, but ultimately that team's really damn good, and they play and they fight for Dan Campbell, and that's not something you can say about the Patriots and Bill Belichick right now. Cheap shot, I'm sorry, but I got to relate everything back to the Patriots here on Press Pass. So having said that, let's go down or across the country, rather, to San Francisco, where they will welcome the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's former team, tying it back to the Patriots again. The 49ers are 11.5-point favorites against now Baker Mayfield's Tampa Bay Bucks. 11.5 points. The total is 41.5. I think Baker Mayfield's questionable. He went down with an injury last week. I'm not sure if he's practiced yet this week. But the 49ers, after losing 3 straight and then going on the bye, came back last week and took the Jaguars to town. Took their lunch money, did whatever saying you want to call it. They spanked them. They smoked them. It's telling that the 49ers can bounce back like that. That makes me believe in them even more because normally when a team's down for the count like that and they play a good team after the bye, they might struggle a bit, but they did their thing last week. The 49ers could be the best team in football. So that being said, Niners minus 11.5, totals 41.5. Taylor, what do you think of this NFC matchup?
I think the Buccaneers will cover. But I do think that this is going to be
spoiler alert. I've taken the Bucs.
Yeah. This is one of those. It's NFC, so I'm not super like locked into what's going on over there. But I know the Buccaneers have been competitive to a decent degree, but I also know that the 49ers are the 49ers, and they've been finding themselves after going on a little losing streak. So I think the Bucs cover, but I do think that the 49ers are going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is sort of a few weeks ago we added a caveat to our picks, and it was the Rams game, and it was if Matthew Stafford plays, take the Rams, and if he doesn't, don't take the Rams. And that's how I feel about Baker this week. If he somehow doesn't play, they'll turn it over to Kyle Trask, who hasn't really played any real NFL football yet in his life. So at that point, I would think the Niners will roll. But I like Baker. I like his moxie, and I like what he has in those offensive weapons as well, in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So I think they can cover 11.5 points, but ultimately, I think it's the 49ers that win that one. And 41.5 points, I'll take the over. I trust both teams to score some points in that one. So that's going to do it for us this week. You can follow Taylor on Twitter at TKyles39 for all of your NFL and Patriots insight and read all of his stuff over at CLNSmedia.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mike Kadlick. read all of my work at weei.com. And that's week 11. We're going to be back for week 12 at the same time next week. So make sure you tune in and rate, review not only this video, but everything over at Patriots Press Pass. And until next time, enjoy your Patriots bye week. Check out all the NFL games to watch across the league and bet them if you want to at fanduel.com. And also check out oddsr.com/presspass because they'll give you a 30-day free trial of their app. It is basically, like I always say this every week, it's what me and Taylor do, but there's AI involved, so they're a lot smarter than us. So go check them out, oddsr.com/presspass for your free trial. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and we will talk to you soon.